Celebrations about a legal victory to allow more Illinois residents to carry firearms in public abruptly stopped as news spread about the shooting in Connecticut. But gun rights advocates were overjoyed last week when the federal appeals court struck down Illinois' ban against carrying guns on the streets. The court ruled in Moore versus Madigan that there is a right to carry a loaded gun outside the home. At this time, Illinois is a non-carry state. Carrying firearms in Illinois is very difficult unless unloaded and stored so they are not accessible. It also does not honor any other state's permits or licenses. Last week in Illinois, the federal appeals court ruled the gun carrying ban unconstitutional under the Supreme Court's interpretation of the Second Amendment. The state would have to allow citizens to carry weapons under the court ruling. The judges gave the General Assembly 180 days to come up with a new law that meets the Second Amendment. News 10's Patsy Kelly explains.
Illinois is the last state in the nation to not have a concealed carry law, but that could be changing.
I think it's a little bit scary.
I think that we ought to have the protection of our guns, because if they take it out of the hands of everybody, the only one's going to have them is the people that don't need them in their hands.
Well, I think we have the right to bear arms, and I don't think that right ought to be taken away from you, but carrying a concealed weapon, I don't think they should. That's what we got the police for.
The federal appeals court ruled the gun carrying ban unconstitutional, citing the Second Amendment. But judges also gave lawmakers 180 days to put their own version of the law in place. A new law would give residents the ability to carry handguns outside of their homes and cars. But owner of Lost Creek Trading Post, William Benke Sr., says it's long overdue.
And I think the people have a right to protect themselves.
Benke thinks it's unfair for the law to exclude the ordinary citizen and violates the Second Amendment.
I think in the 1700s, when they wrote the Constitution, the writers of the Constitution felt that at that time the aristocracy and the elitists were the only ones that had firearms, and they wanted to make sure that that didn't happen again, and that's why they put it in our Constitution.
But Courtney Genavola is more worried about the safety of her children than whether the ruling is fair or not.
Like I said, having kids, it's scary to think that, because things can happen. I mean, guns can go off on accident, and even if someone has a permit and knows how to use it, it's just scary to me.
Leaving Illinois residents still divided on the upcoming decision. In Marshall, Illinois, with Chief Photojournalist Mike Latta, Patsy Kelly, News 10.
Right now, in order to own a firearm in Illinois, you have to have a FOID card to own a handgun. When transporting it, you must have it taken apart and put in a firearm carrying case. You cannot carry a firearm concealed in public.